The Wellness Show, episode number 337.
Welcome to The Wellness Show, a podcast on health and wealth. I'm your host, Tyhson, the founder of the Extraordinary Healing Arts Academy. Join me as we get the latest insight, tips, and strategies from wellness providers, coaches, and successful heart-centered entrepreneurs, and much, much more. We're now live on Facebook, and welcome to The Wellness Show. Bright and sunny out here in Paradise in British Columbia, halfway between Calgary and Vancouver. I was able to show a picture of me on our deck. We are so blessed to have spring coming, blue skies, wonderful weather, pruning the trees, getting ready to plant the garden. Life is good in these times of COVID-19. In fact, seeing as I work from home, it really is not much different, except that I can't go to the gym. Other than that, it's sort of like life is normal. Anyway, it may not be normal for the rest of you on the planet, so we're here to help you move through your stress and duress in this time of planetary and personal change, help you take back your personal power, become a sovereign human being, stand in your truth, and deliver your awesome gifts to the world, because you are unique and you deserve to show up and be recognized for who you are. So this is Tyhson Bannigan. I am a shaman. I am a psychic. Anyway, doesn't matter who I am. And this is my co-host, Laura Cool, and fourth generation psychic. And we're here to answer any questions that you have, particularly dowsing, energy, healing, anything that you need to move through, how to build your energy field, all those good things. So to start the show off, I was going to just use this crystal tuning fork that comes from the School of Sound Healing from Jill Madison. And for some reason, I liked what she was doing, and I ordered this very fragile tuning fork, I guess, to display it for you guys. So here goes. This is what it looks like. It's all of crystal, so it's very fragile. And here's the hammer. We're just going to put it up to the mic here.
Nice.
Very subtle, but if you were right here, I'd put it on your, right on your skin.
Yeah. That's nice.
So this is 432 hertz. So we had Laura do her homework for me and for you about what is that anyway.
Well, let's see. So according to attunedvibrations.com, it says 432, known as Verdi's A, is an alternative tuning that is mathematically consistent with the universe. Music based on it transmits beneficial healing energy because it is a pure tone of math fundamental to nature. According to Brian T. Collins, a musician and researcher, the standard pitch for 40 hertz does not harmonize on any level that corresponds to cosmic movement, rhythm, or natural vibration. The greatest musicians, such as Mozart and Verdi, based on their music on the natural vibration of 432. It's true that it's the only 8 vibrations per second, different from the standard tuning, but this small difference seems to be remarkable on our human consciousness. There's a growing musical and metaphysical movement for recovering optimal integrity in the music industry. Yeah. And spiritually through the 432 tuning. In April 2008, Dutch journalist Richard Huskin found the Back to 432 committee claiming that this original tuning was used in ancient cultures, and it is found on antique instruments like the Stradivarius violin. How beautiful is that?
Yeah, this is really, we're going to go down the rabbit hole today. I promise people I don't really want to go down the rabbit hole because we can get lost in the war and underneath the ground in the dark divines or divins or what do you call them, of the underworld. But it is true that our whole musical system was altered consciously by the powers that be, so that it does not vibrate according to the music of the spheres, if you understand what that is all about. And it's not in harmonic accord with the physical body. why they just did this. Is it a conspiracy theory? Did they do it consciously? Most likely they did. But there's a movement afoot to bring us back into harmony, so that when we play a musical instrument, it will resonate correctly and be able to be vibrating with our cells and energizing them. And so the whole story behind all this is that anything that's not resonant with our cells, which is the frequency of your cell phone, by the way, and please read the small print. It will say, do not put this cell phone in your pocket. Do not listen to this, do not have this cell phone beside your ear. Do not sleep beside it. It also, if you look at the vibrational frequencies from your cell phone, when it rings, it's sending out a signal every, I don't know how many seconds, looking for a cell tower. I'm here, where are you, where are you? I'm here, where are you? And it's this pulse going back and forth that is really upsetting for a human. But as soon as the phone rings, that's the big spike. You don't want that phone anywhere near your ear or anywhere near your body when it rings. So,
or you get a text message too, same thing.
Yeah, you get a jolt. So my cell phone is at least 3 to 4 feet away from me, right? Arm's length at all times. Okay. So going back to this, so there's sounds that entrain our body, and we are just purely harmonic symphony of vibrational sounds that when we're in universal harmony with Mother Earth and the universe, we nest these energies in our heart, just built in, and they then collapse into what's called the tube torus, and we become one with all. This is the mysticism of the alchemists, right? Becoming one with all. It's because we're in harmonic accord with all of life. These interrupters, whether it be the fact that our music has been altered, or we're living in a sea of vibrational energy that's non-beneficial to us, all dumb us down. They all put us out of sync. They all infringe on our immune system, and therefore make ourselves more susceptible to disease and disorder and what we call the virus. Okay, so that's why this is important. Whatever you can do to be in harmony with all of life is what our goal is to help you learn how to do that. And taking back your personal power and standing in your truth is really becoming harmonically attuned to life around you. So it's another way of describing that.
Right.
So there you are.
So there's also tuning bowls too, and I know you love those as much as I do, and those will resonate with your body as well.
Yeah, we'll bring one up, Tibetan bowl, next time. So the difference between the Tibetan bowl and the sound from a Tibetan bowl and a musical instrument that's tuned in this new way is if you ring a Tibetan bowl, it's hard to know where the sound ends. It just goes on and on and on and on and on, fades away, and you're never quite sure where that fade away is because it's just hangs in space and time. And who knows, maybe it becomes the wordless sutra in the sense that it does continue on, we just can't hear it. It keeps vibrating because it's one with the universe. So, but when you have a musical instrument that's tuned to this new way, you don't have the same harmonics. There's no way for the vibrational frequencies to nest inside of each other, and therefore the note ends like that, like clunk, right? Mm-hmm. It doesn't go on, it doesn't divinely flow through space and time because there's no harmonic connection between the two. So the basis of sound healing is coming back in harmony with all of life around us, like I said. So it's really, really important to understand this and, and dance and sing and be one with the sounds of the universe, right? Which is the music of the spheres that they talk about. The music of the spheres, the planets moving through space and time, all sing a universal song. And in fact, when I talked about the lunar calendar, and I talked about the man who does the lunar calendar, and his name is Lorenzo, I think it's called Lorenzo. He has actually been able to take from interplanetary, satellites that they've sent out the music of each one of the planets. And so you can listen to what does Mars sound like, what does Jupiter sound like, what does Neptune sound like. So they all ring at a different frequency. So the notes of this solar system all ring in harmony,
Isn't
just
that
like a
beautiful?
symphony. Yeah, yeah.
And
So
it
there's
kind of
music
like
everywhere.
the whales sound too. I think that you
Oh
can,
yeah.
if you go out into the universe, you can hear similar sounds, correct?
Yes, when we went and did a trip to with my friend Jade and Jewel, who's a major channeler and helps do amazing meditations, and we went to the Dominican Republic and then went out to the Silver Banks to be with humpback whales, to swim with humpback whales. It's one of the few places on the planet you can do that. And I couldn't understand why I was told to read about crystal skulls. It made no sense to me whatsoever. We stopped in Vancouver and I got a message and to read crystal skulls. So I was in my friend's library, so I read about Mitchell Hedges' crystal skull. Made no sense to me. I'm going to see the whales. Why do I want to know about crystal skulls?
Right.
Anyway, we get there and we meditated every night, getting ready to commune with the whales before we went out in the boat. And the boat, the idea is you go out in the boat to the Silver Banks, and then the boat gets anchored there, and then you spend 7 days on the ocean in this reef area where the mother whales and the young ones come to birth and calf. And they don't eat during this time, but they want to be inside this reef where they're protected from the sharks, right? And so this is the birthing grounds, and there's, the Hawaii is another one. So the whales from the North Atlantic, let's see if I can get this right, yeah, migrate down the eastern seaboard to the Dominican Republic to have birth there. Now, I don't know whether so there's 4 streams of whales, two from the north, one in the Pacific, one in the Atlantic, and one from the south pole area north. They all coming to the equator area where it's warm to birth, right? So there's 4 major streams of whales. And what does this have to do with crystal skulls? Well, the thing is that we were meditating to go out there, and I kept getting this crystal skull in my head. What are you doing in my head? And then on the second day, this lady comes up from the beach with this gorgeous crystal skull. It was about this big, right? And I said, whoa, that crystal skull, it's been in my head, in my dreams. I said, of course it has. It was like 2 feet behind you when we meditated. It was on the table, but I never saw it there. She said, would you like to meet it? And I said, yeah, it'd be fantastic. So she has it to me. And without thinking, I have this conversation with this crystal skull. I said, who are you? He said, I'm an interdimensional being. I said, what are you doing in a crystal skull? He said, well, because this allows me to be in this dimension. I said, well, don't you miss not having arms and legs? He said, no, not at all. He says, I have a caretaker who listens to me. And I wanted to have the experience of going in the ocean today. So she took me in the ocean. I wanted to come see the whales. She's taking me to see the whales. No, I don't need arms and legs. I said, well, how can I talk to you? He said, oh, it's quite simple. You're in the same vibrational frequency as I am. I said, wow, if I can talk to you, then can I talk to the whales and the dolphins? He said, absolutely, of course you can. So this is a conversation I had without even thinking, without even getting into my rational brain,
right,
telepathically with this crystal skull. And his name was Coco Nino. And so this put me on this journey with crystal skulls. So now we're out on the bank and I have this dream. And the dream is the connection between the crystal skulls, which are all connected to alien civilization. So my belief is there's 13, I know there's a story of 13 crystal skulls. When 13 crystal skulls come together, there'll be a huge shift on the planet, consciousness. And they all have different caretakers. These are ancient skulls. I believe, although I've never seen it written anywhere, that there's 13 crystal skulls for every civilization on planet Earth that went through an ascension process. Because we're not the first ones that have done this. I want you to know there's documented proof and, well, proof, I don't know what is proof. There's written stories of over 32 civilizations on this planet that have gone through an ascension. And the Mayans would be one of them. They say, oh, no, they died out because they didn't know how to do their agriculture and all that. No, They ascended into another dimension. Okay, that's why you can't find the evidence that, you know, they all of a sudden disappeared, some of them. Okay, so back to the crystal skull. So I have this dream, and all the whales are coming up in a circle. They're all like sky hopping, you know, where they stick their heads out. And there's this energy of the crystal skull above them. And then above them is an Arcturian spacecraft, right? The Arcturians are the ones that send the vibrational frequency down to do, what do you call it? You know, on the face of the earth when they do, what am I trying to say? You know, the crop circles, okay?
Oh, okay.
The Arcturians are the ones that do the energetics for the crop circles. And they're setting down the keys and codes for the ascension, or the next step for humanity and civilization and all of life, to the whales. The whales download this frequency, and then if you listen to the whales as they swim up the coast, past New York and all that, they sing the keys and the codes into the crystalline structure of the earth. So that's the connection between the crystalline structure of the earth, which is like the earth's meridians, right? Sound healing from the whales, which are interdimensional beings. They get from extraterrestrials, which they're connected to, which are Arcturians, and they do this at this particular place. And through the dream, I was able to understand this whole sequence of encoding these codes and how that happens. So that's the connection between sound vibrations, the interaction of animals like whales that we have no idea what their function is, but they're actually advanced entities or that are bringing consciousness to all of us if we could pay attention. So that's my learning about crystal skulls, sound, healing, the meridians of the earth, and whales and crystal skulls. So that started me on a whole brand new path of learning about crystal skulls. And by the way, it's a full moon, so Sarah just took all the crystal skulls to have their full moon bath because they love the full moon energy. So they're out there today in the sun, and they'll be out there all night under the full moon, downloading that energy.
The full moon last night was so beautiful.
Oh, it was absolutely spectacular here. We all stood at the bottom of the stairs and through the trees and over the mountain. We went, oh. And I will try and share you a picture on Facebook, but Michael took a picture, and there's a green orb right beneath the moon, a big vibrating green orb. So yeah, it was really, really a powerful moon, amazing moon, terrific moon. So anyway, there you are. I don't know how we got onto crystal skulls, tuning towards sound, vibrational frequencies, and why there's been people on the planet who wanted to dumb us down. You know, they're not going to succeed. They're just, you know, we're smarter than the average bear. You know, they think that they're going to dumb us down. But, you know, for a lot of us, way too late. Way too late. We're going to win.
Day late, dollar short. Yeah.
What?
Day late, dollar short.
Exactly, exactly. All right, I'll drink to that. A little smoothie.
Ooh, a green one. Good for you.
Liquid light. All right, Eduardo has his hands raised. What does he have to say?
I think you gotta. He didn't put on a chat. He just wants to talk.
He just wants to talk. Okay.
I was waiting for you to unmute him.
Okay, there he is. He's unmuted.
Hello.
Good morning, Eduardo.
Yeah, I briefly wanted to mention a few individuals, a few people that are into sound. I learned about them about a year ago. One such individual, his name is Eric Rankin. That's spelled E-R-I-C, Rankin, R-A-N-K-I-N. He runs a website called sonicgeometry.com. He talks about the 432 frequency, and I don't play instruments, or I'm not a musician. I'm as a former math tutor, I also tutored up to calculus. He goes into a couple of videos on his website or even on YouTube where it's sonic geometry, and he goes into the mathematics of why 432 is the true tuning frequency of the piano and other instruments. His first video is called The Language of Frequency of Form. The second one is communication in the universe in 432. And the third one is 432 hertz, a message to the citizens. And it's been a year. I'm kind of rusty.
You're breaking up a bit. Could you do those again? I don't know if you're hitting your mic, but what was important information. Could you just say it again, those three?
Yes. The first one is called The Language of Frequency and Form. The second is Communicating with the Universe in 432 hertz. The third is called 432 hertz, a message to the citizens of Earth. And
So
the
you got
purpose.
that all written down, Laura, right?
Yeah, I'll get it in the show notes for sure.
All right. Yeah, thank you very much, Eduardo. Any other take on that? Or was there other people that you wanted to mention, or just that person?
Well, there's another, but Eric Rankin also wrote a book. It's on Amazon called The Aquarians. And it's a fictional book with truth mixed in called The Aquarians 2012, A New Era Begins. I've not read it. I've got too much on my list, but that's just something to look into. And the other person I want to mention is on YouTube also, Geraldine Glass. She plays the bowls, and she also has and she talks more about what she does with the crystal bowls. And the last person I want to mention is the work of Eileen McCusick. She works with tuning forks. And she also, in San Diego, she's trying to do more research to get it, to do research between the frequencies. She's somebody that's also on YouTube and runs something called the biofield tuning.
Wow.
That's it.
All right, thank you. So if you want to go ahead over to the music, to singing using your voice and overtones, which I've had some lessons in and doing overtones, which is really a cool thing. You get overtones when you sing in the shower. That's why some of us sing in the shower, even though we're not very good singers, because you get overtones. And whistling vessels, have you ever heard of those from Peru? I have a lady who had a whole set of Peruvian whistles, and unfortunately she's in her 80s and in an old folks home, and I don't know where all her Peruvian whistles went, but they do overtones as well. There's something about the overtones that if you listen to an overtone singer, and I found one that is absolutely exquisite. It's just like you're hearing the angels sing. There's just something incredible. Anyway, I digress. The singer that I'd really love for people to tune into is Tom Kenyon. Tom Kenyon can chant. He has a 4-octave or higher range, and he can bring in the angels. They literally appear when he sings. He calls them in. So, and he's chanting.
You know how to spell his last name? Kenyon?
Kenyon, Kenyon, I think.
Okay.
And yeah, a very well worth listening to. And if you travel out to here after the world changes with COVID-19, I have a cottage here called Sunnybreak Cottage. And in my downstairs room is a dodecahedron sound chamber, which I called my Ascension Chamber. And in there, we can play Tom Kenyon, and we can also do a sound file, which is from you, from your own voice. And we record a bass sound file about where you are. And then I do a meditation to clear you so you get out of your own way, even if it's for a microsecond. We then record it again. Yeah, what you waving your finger on?
I've done it and I love it. I wanted to tell him about the sound thing that you did with Tony and I. And
Right.
I play that all the time. And my sister and brother-in-law absolutely love it and sleep much better when I play those tones. And
yeah, it's sort of wild and woolly in the sense that it's just all computer sounds, but it's called Fortran, I think it's called. I can't remember the actual computer coding that was done by the person who created it, but he is Canadian, and you have to be really a genius and to try and take the vibrational frequencies from a voice and put it into a musical equivalent, and then put it into a computer program that then shows you what's happening in your chakras, both at the level of, a physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, and future potentialities, sort of like layers in your energy field. And then to play back, I think it's, I don't know, I can never remember, it's 23 minutes or 32 minutes. I should time it out. get it in my brain, a sound file that clears what no longer serves you and raises your vibrational frequency up. So one way you can say, well, we can use this for clearing people. Another way you can say is you're helping people ascend because you're clearing out what no longer serves them, so there's room for higher dimensional energies. And the beauty of the dodecahedron sound chamber is that it's a dodecahedron is part of the 5 platonic solids, which all nest one within the other and create harmonics. So they're the building blocks of the universe, which if you were able to put the music of the spheres into geometrical progressions, then you would have all those 5 platonic solids. So the dodecahedron is the one that gives you perfect sound and perfect pitch.
Wow.
So there's no reason why all the speakers on the planet shouldn't be dodecahedrons, and some of them are. So my friend who's passed on now, I'll get back to you, was doing, was a radio broadcaster, and he was doing a short interview about why the dodecahedron, this is not my dodecahedron, but a much more fancy, beautiful, it looks like it's white powder coated, made of steel. It looks like an alien spaceship has landed in your room. It's absolutely gorgeous. And it's a double bed, and you get to sleep in there all night long with the speakers, and it's absolutely incredible. One of my friends did do that, and he was in a healing crisis, and he said his foot, he touched the foot of the metal on the metal by mistake. He said he got a huge electrical shock from that. So what it does is it creates a safe bowl or zone of energy that then nests your body in this and harmonically brings it all into synchronicity through the music so that your body can heal. Okay.
Right.
So when the body hears music that's harmonious to the body, first of all, the body relaxes. So, then it says, oh, this is a safe zone. This is like a vessel, like a womb. And now I can remember who I am. It's a safe zone. Because it doesn't have to protect itself from all this electrical magnetic energy, EMF crap that we're surrounded in. All of a sudden, the body's not doing this, right? The body's doing this. It's surrendering to the fact that it's in a safe soundscape. And then it starts to remember who it is. Its original vibrational frequency, call it, its original blueprint. And then it starts to reconfigure itself and heal, coming out of that safe zone. It's like being rebirthed in this womb of sound. And so that's why it's so powerful, the dodecahedron. So anyway, he was doing this interview, and he's, my name is, but he's got this radio voice way down here, And he did this interview on this, and then and it was in the dodecahedron and came out. Then they played him the tape back, and he started to cry. And he said, "What are you crying about?" And he said, "Because I've never heard my voice before, i.e., all of the sound in the universe that I record my voice to does not give me my voice back. But the dodecahedron has perfect pitch. So when I recorded my voice in there, I heard my voice, my real voice, for the first time. And that's why he was crying."
Oh, wow.
Okay.
That's amazing, Ty.
Yeah, it is amazing, which means that if you were a violin player, the closer you got to the dodecahedron, the more perfect the pitch of the violin. And if you were inside the dodecahedron, it would be spot on. Spot on. And you hear the violin. And then if you put that together with this whole concept of, being in harmony with the universe at 432, and we get the frequency of tuning the violin correctly according to the harmonics of the universe, and then put it in a dodecahedron, you're going to have absolute perfect pitch. That is called sound healing. This is the new way of sound and light healing, everybody. It's so straightforward. It's so simple. It's so easy peasy lemon squeezy. It will heal anything. And this is the technology that comes from Atlantis. Okay. Before people got in their ego and tried to misuse it, which is no different than the turning point on this planet where people are in their ego and think, COVID-19, we can lock down this planet, we can get them all vaccinated and chipped and controlled, and there'll be, money can be in, blah, blah. You didn't have your chip. Oh, you can't withdraw your money. No, you don't have the chip in you from the vaccination. No, you can't cross this border. Forget it. It's not going to happen. Look, we were smart enough in Atlantis that we didn't get it right, and the whole continent went down, right?
Right.
This time we reincarnated, and we're going to get it right.
Right.
Okay.
That's what they tell us. Let's do it.
So just all you guys out there, in the Illuminati, cabal, over you spooky guys, whatever, you ain't going to win the day. Okay. You're not going to do this, right? There's too many of us waking up. And if you're in the process of waking up and it's scary for you and you're having nightmares and dreams and have suicidal thoughts and everything, they're not your thoughts, right? They're not your frequency. You're being bombarded with this craziness. If you are having those sort of problems, please get hold of Laura or get hold of me or get hold of Tony to help you take back your personal power and know who you are, so you're not overwhelmed by this craziness that's going on this planet, being flooded with non-harmonious vibrational frequency that distorts our mind, known as mind control, and voices in our head and all that craziness. Let's create a harmonious planet where we ring true with the universe, where we ring true with our heart, with our fellow humans, and with all of life on the planet.
Beautiful.
The other choice isn't even worth considering.
At all.
Not all. So there you are.
So Lisa Roman says bird song in spring is supposed to be their sound magic, encouraging growth.
Absolutely. So this whole idea of ornithologists is saying, oh, well, that's a bird that he's singing because he's competing for the space from this other bird, and he's trying to dominate this other bird. This is an anthropocentric view of the bird kingdom about why our birds are singing. What if birds are just singing because they love to sing? What if birds are just singing because that's the way that they wake up in the morning? They're so full of joy, they just sing. Why do they have to be singing for a particular human concept of what we think they're doing? We don't have a clue what they're doing. So shut up already and leave those birds alone and enjoy them. So yeah, what if they are actually helping the sun rise by their singing? What if they're so happy that there's a new day, that they made it through the night and they're so joyful that they want to share that joy? Absolutely. So yeah, birds singing, I makes trees grow, makes flowers bloom, bees buzzing. We are so interconnected. We are so, the neural network of planet Earth, there's no separation between humans, bees, animals, whatever. And that if we insist on cutting those threads between us and other species, we will suffer the consequences of it. We were able to get away with that up to this point. But beyond this point, we can't.
Not anymore, right?
Not anymore.
I agree 100% on that.
All right. So thank you for that. I love that.
Yeah, she's very in tune with nature, that Lisa Roman is.
Is there any other questions out there?
Nothing right now. Everyone is just enthralled by your information on all of the music. As am I. I'm soaking it in like a sponge.
Yeah, I feel very blessed that I've had people that come through my life with this sort of technology. The person who introduced me to the dodecahedron is what's called a walk-in. In other words, he's an extraterrestrial human being who walked into a body that was dying, and there was a soul agreement that as one soul left, he arrived. And that has certain consequences to it. One is that you're taking over a body that you've never been in before. So you have all these emotions and feelings that all of a sudden you're feeling like hamburgers, and you don't even know what a hamburger is all about. You've never had a hamburger in your life, on any other planet. And here you are on this crazy planet in a body that has all of these compulsions, thought forms and everything. So you've got to figure out what's the body you inhabited and who you are, and balance out these things. And then you're incarnated into a family that says, who the hell are you? You don't look like Fred. You don't act like Fred. who are you, right? So now you got to, especially if you're going into a body that's, married in a relationship with children, they're going to say, who the hell are you? Like, where did Fred go? They're going to know something's up, something's different. Anyway, so you got to do all that. And then if you come from another planet where the technology is completely different, and you come here and you're all excited, wow, like he was, I have this technology, it's just like second nature to me. Hey, citizens of the planet, let me give you this technology. So he starts to put it up there and gets absolutely tromped on by the establishment. No, we don't want that. We can't make money out of that. We don't people to heal. We can't make money out of drugs and doctors and lawyers and Indian chiefs, And he, then he gets angry because this is not a fair planet to play on. So it's really hard for him. Anyway, he's the one that brought the dodecahedron sound chamber. And it was like $12,000 US. It was gorgeous. Like I said, it was like an alien spacecraft. But my buddy Glenn said, hey, we can't afford that, but people are healing in this. Let's build one. So he was the master builder of the dodecahedron, which is a less expensive version, right? Not as beautiful, but functionally, because it's still sacred geometry, does the trick. So anyway, that's the dodecahedron sound chamber. Come and play with us.
Come play with us.
Yeah.
And where do they have to go to get this?
They have to come to Sunnybray Cottage, where I live. They have to come and sit and have tea and cookie on the deck with me. And if you want to see what the deck looks like, go over to my Facebook page, and there I am on the deck with my lovely wife, Sarah, having lunch.
Yeah, that was nice.
Yeah, it was tough. It's really tough. It really is.
So Michele Montgomery would like to know, what is the best way to clear and clean your crystals?
Yeah, that's a good one. I like to put them in the full moon.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I think I have had my crystal call. If we're around a waterfall or a lake that's a sacred lake or, ceremonial place, he likes to have a bath, right? Just wants to go into the water. So
some crystals, not all crystals, can go into water, though. We need to be careful of that.
Well, if it's selenite, where you can go put it in the water and watch it dissolve, nothing wrong with that. Return it to where it came.
I don't know. I like my selenite. It really.
Non-attachment. Non-attachment.
Okay. All right.
I like my selenite too. So no, don't put your selenite.
Someone put in their selenite in there, and they were like, "Oh my God, Tyhson told me to do this."
Yeah, it's gone. Bye. So moving water, crystal skulls love it. I mean, the Camino was in the sea. He wanted to have that experience with the sea, and he wanted to go mate the whales again. I mean, there's this connection between, I guess, interspecies connection. So when you bring two species together, the animal kingdom or the elemental kingdom and a crystal skull, they really like to be together. So water, I have had stories, like when I was looking for my crystal skull, and by the way, you don't look for a crystal skull, the crystal skull finds you. Yeah, you can go looking for it, but forget it. Mm-hmm. Anyway, I would go into a crystal store in Vancouver. I say, do you have any crystal skulls? No. Do you have any stories about crystal skulls? Yeah, by the way, I do. And one of the stories was this crystal skull. A person came into his store with a crystal skull and said, here, could you take care of this? This crystal skull is not very happy, and I don't know what to do with it. And so he said, sure, okay, I'll do it. When do you want to have it back? She said, oh, maybe 6 months from now. So he said, okay. So he takes the crystal skull home, and he has a conversation. He says, oh, what's going on? He says, I'm just sick and tired of human beings and all this crazy things that they want to use me for. And I'm just fed up with them. So he said, well, what would you like me to do? And he said, just bury me. Leave me alone. Just bury me out in your garden. Leave me alone. Come back later. So that's what he did. He dug a hole in his garden, put the crystal skull in there, and and the crystal skull got to cleanse himself in the earth for an extended period of time. Then they would go periodically and say, you're done? No. Are you ready now? Yeah. And then he brought him back up, cleaned him out, came back to his owner. So, yeah. So we do crazy things with crystals, human beings, and we don't have any consideration about that they're a living entity, and that maybe we should have some appreciation and some conscious around them. We carry them around in our pocket, we give them to people, we do all crazy things with them, we do ceremonies, but we really, really never, ever pay attention to them. So how do you cleanse a crystal? Pay attention to it. Thank it. Bless it, right? Yes, water would be good. You could use salt, you can bury it, you can put it in the full moon, you can put it in the sunlight, you can do all sorts of things with it. But why not have a conversation with your crystal and find out what it wants, instead of you thinking, what do you need to do for this crystal?
I know, yesterday after my walk, I was sitting on my bed and the wind was blowing in. And finally I just asked the wind, I'm like, what is it that you want me to know right now? And we had a conversation with the wind, and I know some people are going to be like, what? But it's true. You can have conversations with the wind, with crystals, with trees. You just have to trust and open up to that energy, and then it will talk to you.
Yeah, absolutely. In the Mayan tradition, Ik, is wind, and it's in the form of a T. So you'll be going across into a sacred site, and you'll see a T in the side of the building. That's the wind, because the wind actually blows through the T and makes a sound, and that sound has to do healing. And at the top of many Mayan pyramids, you'll see that it's sort of like this. It's a matrix on top in stone. That's so the wind can come through and play this huge musical instrument that is a whole temple. The whole temple.
Now that I did not know. That is amazing. Thank you, Wen, for reminding me to talk about you.
And then there's chambers.
All of this.
So if you're in a sacred site and you go inside a chamber, and the roof goes like this, and then it 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 does the same thing coming down. Mm-hmm. That's a sound chamber. And go in there and chant, right? And you'll get overtones, and it will start to heal you, right? It is absolutely amazing, right?
You're like a library of your in here, just the library.
Well, I asked the shaman that I'd been with, and I said, can I say that I'm in training with you? And he said, absolutely, you can. And I said, could you do a reading for me, a Mayan reading? And he did. And he said, I just want you to know that you've been a shaman lifetime after lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. And I'm not saying that to brag or anything like that. I just who I am. Mm-hmm. And so when I'm with the Mayan people or with any indigenous people, I feel so at home. Mm-hmm. I'm so at home. Even though I'm a 6'4" white dude, right? And in my younger years was flaming red, hair and beard. I'm pretty scary looking. He looked like Eric the Red off the Viking ship, right? And I don't look First Nations. I don't look indigenous, but I understand that way of being in harmony with the world. So I've been fortunate in that, working with Miguel Angel. He has a PhD, and also he was a caretaker of Chichen Itza, the sacred site, and did all the studies about Chichen Itza and the encoding and the rising of the sun and why it's a step pyramid and what do they all mean, and knows insides of the pyramid because his shaman has had access to all of the underground. So every pyramid has multiple layers of it. It has a temple of light above it and encoded in the light that you can't see. There's a physical temple, and then there's the underground temple. The underground temple for most people, or even inside or even walking on a temple, is impossible because some crazy ass, I was going to say American, but I need to respect Americans, climbing on the pyramid slipped and has broken their leg or did something crazy and sued them. So now they got all of the temples.
Of course, it would have to be an American that would.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Americans. I shouldn't pick on you.
Listen, when I was in Brazil, I saw a car hit a bus on a Sunday, and the bus driver looked behind him, and the guy in the car looked at it, and they both waved, and they went on their way, and I was like, no way! That would not have happened in America.
Right.
A city bus.
I think the reason that Americans get picked on is because we know that you're smarter than how you act at times. We just know that. And some Americans just do crazy things in another country. They're just not aware of the local culture. They just sort of steamroll through and wonder why everybody doesn't jumping and serving them and bowing and respecting them as the American. And therefore, like, why would, you're the one that slipped on the pyramid. Why are you going to sue? Anyway, don't get me onto it.
No,
So,
I 100% agree with you.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And you need to know that, I've studied the United States of America. My master's degree is from Antioch University in Seattle. Many from my friends are Americans. I love Americans, but I don't like your government. I said it. I said it. I love Americans, but I don't like your government.
Okay.
I don't particularly like my government either, but particularly don't like America.
I don't particularly like government in general.
No. I was reading on the broadcast with Shelley, and by the way, every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Pacific, we are doing a show. I'm doing a show with Shelley Darling. And on that show, I was led to read this. See if I can find it here.
Okay.
Yeah. What I liked about it is it doesn't talk about politics, but it talks about polarity, right? Let's see if I can find it. Any other questions out there?
No, we just have lots of people watching right now.
Oh my God.
Nice.
Oh my God. Oh, okay, so I can see here. Oh yeah. So at this time, there's so many conspiracy theories about COVID-19. And I broke my own rules, as Laura knows, and I actually put up one of the conspiracy theories. Actually, for me, it's not a conspiracy theory, it's the truth. And by the way, how do I know it's the truth? It's the truth for me. Is it the truth for Laura? I don't know. She has to make that decision.
I do the same thing you do. I ask my higher self whether or not this is true or not. Whether you say it's true or not, I mean, I do respect you and trust you, but I have to trust, I have to go within me.
Yes, and I want everybody on this call and anybody listening to this call in the future, whatever Laura and I say is what we believe is true for us.
Right.
But it may not be true for you. So please check on the truth factor for you. So this is truth. So I'm going to read this. So this is from a little book that came to me. It's called Source. It's a funny little book in that, it's anonymous. Nobody's put their name on it. And it's really an amazing little book. I think I'm going to go get multiple copies printed. Anyway, it says here, truth cannot be communicated in words, in concepts, only in the action between the words. So there's no words can't. There's no truth in the words. The words are an artifact after the knowingness of that rings true. So I'm trying to explain it to you. I have to use words, but the knowingness of the truth has nothing to do with the words. Okay, the words are trying to convince me of the truth or explain the truth, but the words aren't the truth. The real problem is that we think there is a problem. The real problem is we think there is a problem. That there are problems is only a dream, a case of mistaken identity.
Right.
And do you know why?
A case of mistaken identity.
Yeah, or maybe the easier one is why is there go ahead.
Your own ego trying to figure out.
Your ego is spinning its wheel, trying to figure out something that doesn't need to be figured out. Okay? It's a dream.
Right.
The real problem is that we think there's a problem.
Right.
That there are problems is only a dream, a case of mistaken identity. Only opportunity exists.
Absolutely. And remember that everything that comes in front of you, you've brought towards you anyway.
Yeah, and it's an opportunity.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
So freed of the goal of loving, one can love. Freed of the goal of loving, one can love.
Oh, free of the goal of loving, comma, one can love.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Or free of the goal of loving, comma, one can love. So good, bad, like, dislike, Democrat, Republican, it doesn't say that, but I said that, Democrat, Republican, right, wrong, all judgments to the point of maintaining what I think I am. I'm right, and Laura, you're wrong.
Right.
I'm a Democrat and you're a Republican. I have the truth, but no, you don't have the truth. But it says here, the truth cannot be communicated in words or in concepts. So how can we create a political system, and it's no different in my country, in Canada, where we have an opposition party? If we're always in opposition, how can we come to any agreement? Because we're always in opposition.
Right.
It's crazy. It is an insane way to run a planet. Get me out of here. Pick me up. Take me home. Okay? All judgment from the point of view maintaining what I all judgment from the point of maintaining what I think I am. I'm right. You're wrong.
Right.
No point of view, no limits.
Yeah.
Freedom. There you are. That's my little rant for this morning.
That was a great rant. Very good.
So any more questions out there in question land?
No, everyone's listening to you.
That's sort of, you're allowed to ask questions and say, that's a lot of hooey, right?
Well, they could, but I don't know. I mean, we have had some really, really good questions in every show, and we've had good questions today. People, I believe, really want to know what you have to say and what is truth. When you start speaking truth and people hear it, they want to hear more of it.
All right, so I'll continue on. I know in one of the shows, and I didn't get to answer it. And by the way, we're going to be more conscientious about the fact that you do ask questions and we don't get to answer them in the show because we run out of time. But I think somebody asked me, or read somewhere, when you're doing the deep clearing protocol, have you noticed that your hair changes color? Whoa, that's a really interesting one. No, I've never ever realized that, but I have to say, it made me thinking. So I thought about when I did coral calcium, which is from the coral of one of the islands off of Japan
Fiji.
Somewhere.
Oh, I thought it was Fiji.
Is it Fiji?
I think so.
Well, hopefully it's not Japan because it may be polluted now with nuclear fallout.
Right.
But wherever that is, I think it's Okinawa. But I don't know. I digress. The point is that there is calcium, coral sea calcium. Maybe you could Google that.
Yeah, I'm going to, and I'll have it in the show notes where it's from.
Okay, so anyway, when I was taking that, and I had a beard, and by the way, I miss my beard, but anyway, I feel naked in the world. I have had a beard since I was 20. Anyway, I shaved I shaved or trimmed my beard one day, and it got really close to the skin, so I just took it off. And Sarah came home and said, "Oh my God, who is that?" Right? She'd never seen me without a beard. And then that was it. She said, "You're not going to grow a beard again." So I've been naked in the world ever since. I can't hide behind my beard. But anyway, when I had a beard and I was doing coral calcium, my beard would change colors. What do I mean by that? It would have one hair would be gray, one would be red from the original red beard, one would be black. It would be multicolored. So what that means to me is a gray hair, and I may be wrong, I don't have any scientific proof around this, but as we clear and we come into the truth of who we are and we have the right trace minerals, which would be like coral calcium, then our hair will return to its natural color. There you are. See if it helps. So yes, if you're clearing and you're doing it at a highly intense level and you're sincere about it, and even better if you do I have all the trace minerals I need in my body? And if you know what they are, like go Google the list of trace minerals. What's my level of calcium? On a 0 to 100%. Is there a gene for calcium that I can turn on? Yes or no? Does it permanently turn on? Yes or no? Do I have to turn it on once a week, twice a week? How often should I check whether my trace minerals are the right amount? Is it weekly, bi-weekly? Is it monthly? Is it whatever? Okay, see where I'm going? And go through the whole list, because this was going to help you with the trace minerals. It's going to help you with biochemistry in your brain too, right? So that's the other way you can do it too. And I started to do this and I got lost. So any of you out there that know about brain chemistry, understand it, and can give me an overview of the major chemistry in the brain, right? Just the list, then I can go through and douse that for people, and that will help and because we have the ability to bring it into harmony.
I guess, what do you mean by brain chemistry? Can you be more specific?
Well, if there's trace minerals, we know what trace minerals are, right? We can Google them.
Yeah.
And we can douse them. The brain chemistry, there's certain like neurotoxins, and there's neurotransmitter brain chemistry of what moves through the brain, right?
Okay.
Okay, like trace minerals is chemistry.
But wouldn't your whole body have that? Why just your brain?
Because the brain is where people have mental problems, because they don't have the brain chemistry is out of sync.
I see what you're saying. Okay.
So now we have deranged thoughts, fear, doubt, shame, guilt, and we're overwhelmed. And for example, one of my friends in the Tao, and I know Laura, you can go like this, go blah, 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 blah. You don't need to hear this, okay?
Why?
Because it has to do with diet.
Oh,
it has to do with food.
Because I'm a carnivore and you're a vegan.
No, it's not a carnivore. It has to do with garlic and onions. It has to do with the 5 pungents. And he's just sent us a 25-page article that he wrote on this, called Anonymous, because he's too, I don't know if he's scared to put his name on there. Anyway, he just sent us a new version of it because he's been editing. This has been something he's been working on. Where over, I think it's an 8-month period, he did a test on himself. He was a Buddhist and wanted to take the Bodhisattva vow, and in the Tao, he had to do no onion and garlic. And he says, no way, I love onion and garlic. I'm not going to do that. That's just a cultural belief. I don't believe in that stuff. If that's what I got to do to be a Bodhisattva, taking the vow, I'm not going to do it. So
okay.
I started thinking about it and said, okay, I'm going to run an experiment. So I'm going to do garlic and onions the way I want to do it for 1 month, and then I'm going to not do it for a month. And I'm going to do that over an 8-month period, 4 months on garlic and onions and 4 months off. And he talks about what it meant to him. Really, really interesting. About how that garlic and onion changed the chemistry of body and what sort of emotions he had as a result that he never knew before he did this experiment. Now, he does put a proviso in there that for those that are meat eaters, that you're not going to feel it in the same way as if you're if you're a vegan, if you're a vegetarian. There's something about in the vegetarian diet that we get hypersensitive to things that are not in our diet, right? And if you, then some of the ways in which you can check whether you're having problems with your diet is there's milk and there's grain and there's sugar. And if you back off one of those for a month and then don't do any grains, and then come back on, you'll see the immediate effect of what that grain's doing to your body.
I've done that before myself.
Yeah, you've done that before? But that's the same thing you can do with onion and garlic. Why do I'm talking about this? Because we're talking about chemistry in the body and the sensitivity as you do the deep clearing. You're raising your vibrational frequency, and at the same time, the planet is raising hers. So all the trauma that's locked in your cellular structure is going to come out. So anything you repressed is on its way out. You're going to need to deal with it. You can't push it down anymore. So diet is part of that sensitivity too. There's certain things that you ate before that your body says, no, I can't do that unless you want to, chew Xantex for the rest of your life, right? Because you have, a rotten gut, so to speak. We got to be aware of that. Anyway, so this was onion and garlic. So that's why brain chemistry. I'd like to know about brain chemistry so we can help people balance that out. So it's not something that, it's something that we could help them understand, just like parasites, like we did a whole study on parasites, because the toxicity from parasites is the underlying issue for many diseases and disorders that we don't know because the doctors don't study that and don't understand that there's parasites. And by the way, doctors, I love you, and please keep doing what you're doing in COVID-19. We love you, and all, organ transplants and all that stuff that you're doing. You're incredible. Unfortunately, the way the medical profession is set up, you are not given all the information on the human body, such as parasites, or, here we go, I'm going to say it, or that there is no such thing as a germ. The germ theory does not exist, right? And if the germ theory doesn't exist, then how can COVID-19 be transmuted? I know how can it be transmuted? It's a great question, but how can it be transmitted from one person to the other? Okay?
One of my friends said that viruses actually are not like bacteria; they're not alive. But then if this story that I'm telling you is true, and I'm not saying that it is, because I want to protect my butt. No, is, if, and this is the same for cancer, so I'm going to go out on the limb here. And this is just, if the story is correct, this is not my story. I'm not a scientist. I'm not a doctor. I'm not prescribing a cure. I'm just telling you stories that I've heard. Right.
These stories are true for you or not true for you is entirely up to you. The story is that with cancer and with the COVID-19 or any other virus is the body trying to heal itself. The body's trying to heal itself. We identify it as cancer. We identify it as a virus. Those are the excretions. The virus is the excretion from the cells that's under duress from whatever, poor diet, electromagnetic energy, stuff in the air from whatever. You get it? The body is compromised, therefore it's trying to heal. You get snot in your nose. The body is saying, I got to get this stuff out of my body. The only way I can do it is in a fluid. The only way I can do this is expel it, right? And how can it expel it? It has to come out of the 5 orifices, right? You have to breathe it out. You have to blow it out. You have to, anyway.
Urinate.
The other end of the body out, right? It has to come out somewhere. Or it comes out in pimples, rashes, skin diseases, disorders.
Or anger, frustration.
Well, there's the anger, frustration, loss that creates the cancer. Now look, we have hundreds and thousands of viruses in our body. If we didn't have viruses, we couldn't exist. Okay, there's more viruses than there are cells in our body. And cancer is always, those rogue, whatever you want to call them, cells are always resident in our body. The only reason that these things go crazy or off the track, so to speak, is when the immune system is compromised.
Or lower, exactly. What people don't understand about that. And then Americans don't eat, or not Americans, but in people in general, eat all this processed foods with no life in it, with nothing in it, and they're eating, and then they're feeding it sugar, which will also cause an immune sugar's an immune suppressant, and they're not eating like vegetables and fruits and cooking at home. I think that's what one of the greatest things about this whole shut-in thing is that we're cooking, and like, no, we don't need to go out. And I had to like teach my own family, no, we're not going out. We're going to eat in. This is so much better than we don't need to eat out. No. And that was taught to me by a Brazilian that I lived with, that you eat in and it only takes a few minutes. And I couldn't believe in the beginning. I was like, oh my God, I just want to eat out. Come on. I don't want to cook. Yeah. And he was like, no. And then I got into it.
Yeah, absolutely. And, and now is the time to plant your garden. Rip up that front lawn, plant your garden.
We have.
Yeah. But in many, many jurisdictions, you can plant a garden in your front lawn. But
We have one in our front yard.
Just do it in your backyard where people can see it. And give your neighbors vegetables, and they won't report you because they love you.
I know, and people walk by and talk to us. Like my sister's out
planting. And if you do it in the front, people are going to stop and say, "Oh, that's a great idea," and they'll go do it as well. So here's what we're way past the hour, but this has been a great, Tyhson doing his thing, but he can't help himself.
It's a great show. That's what you're going to say.
Just say a great show, but that sounds very egotistical.
Kind of a little bit. So let me say it. It was a great show, Tyhson. I'm listening to you talk.
So I just want to say a comment about growing your own garden, and I've been saying saving seeds, but it's really not fair to Sarah, because I say these things as a gardener, but I've never had time to be in a garden. I keep promising myself to get out of this office and go gardening, but I'm so friggin' busy. Anyway, I digress. I have help now, and there's no reason I can't. But talking to our expert gardener, our garden guru, and by the way, that calendar and that book will be up this week for sure in the store, so you can buy it. And we also found out that there's an unlimited supply of them, so you can order more. So if you want to have your own garden guru, to order all your open pollinated seeds, which means that you can save the seeds, is what I wanted to talk about. We haven't been saving seeds, but when you save the seeds, by the 3rd to the 6th year, those seeds will be so adapted to not only you, but the planets in the sky that move in the sky above you, the soil that they're in, that when you plant another seed, open pollinated seed, beside the seed that you've saved, she said it will be absolutely unbelievable, the difference between the two plants. The other one will be huge and growing exactly for you, to give you the nutrients that you need and your family needs at exactly the right time.
Farmers always saved their seeds before.
Yeah.
Until Monsanto came along.
No, be nice.
I was nice. That was me being nice.
You get worse.
That was me being nice, trust me.
Okay, that could be much worse. Okay. All right. Let's call this a wrap. Thank you for letting me go on. I can't help myself. I just want to get this information out.
Yeah.
And if we get shut down, we get shut down. But that's the way it is. But don't forget, join us every Tuesday night on the show with Shelley Darling. It's called, what is it called? I guess I better find it. Okay, I'm going to just bring up the screen just for a sec here and show it to you. Okay. Here we are, bringing it up. So this is the show, Radical Earth Resonance, hosted by Shelley Darling and Tyhson Banning. It's Tuesday, 5 p.m. Pacific. It's an hour and a half, or 8 to 9:30 Eastern. Just come on and join us as we talk about boosting our personal and planetary immune system. It's really like this show, but we're really talking about our connection to Mother Earth and how we can co-creatively come together to birth a new Earth. And what does that mean, and how can we help each other do it? So it's like this show. It's a live show. You come in on Zoom and join us, okay? So so join us. Why not? And you get to participate just as much as Shelley and I do. We do a go round, and everybody gets to speak from their heart. So I love this show. Come and join us. The links will be in the show notes of how you can join us there as well. All right, until tomorrow morning, same time, same place. You know where to find us, right?
Absolutely. See you tomorrow, Ty.
All right, so until then, have a great day. See you tomorrow. Bye for now.
For quality online wellness products, courses, and services, visit our sponsors, thewellnessstore.ca and the Extraordinary Healing Arts Academy located at thewellnessacademy.ca. To stay in touch, visit us at thewellnessshow.ca. And until next time, be healthy, wealthy, and wise.